I had to do it, right? Comics 1. And this is my thoughts on the DC reboot fiasco thing. It's also a response to True Slayer, and he made a great video. But for those of you that don't know, DC is pretty much taking everything and pretty much going back to square one. As in, when I say that, they're taking all of their major titles, plus adding a few more. I think they said it's going to be 52 in all. How ironic is that? If you know there's 52 Earths. You know, a few years ago they had that event 52. DC really loves the number 52, don't they? But, yeah. They're going to be 52 new #1 books. And, pretty much characters' origins are going to be tweaked now. Just a lot of different things are happening. It's almost like everything you know in the DC universe is like gone now. You know what I mean? It's just going back to the beginning. Things will be similar, but nothing will be the same. And a lot of people are just highly upset about that. Like, how can they do this? I grew up with these characters. Blah blah blah, blah blah blah. This is an outrage. And DC has lost the customer and all this stuff. And you know what? I say y'all motherfuckers are terrible then, because if the only reason y'all buy books is whatever is because you grew up with them, then that's the problem with comics to begin with. If you don't believe in something or someone, whoever may be writing it or illustrating it or whatever, then you shouldn't be, you shouldn't follow the book anymore. If you don't like something, don't read it. That's just how I feel. And if a creator is on a book that you enjoy, you know what I mean, that you enjoy it. If you like this person, you know what I mean, you like their style of writing, should it matter that this character no longer has his origin anymore? That's like saying that, I don't like Elseworld books because Elseworld books are not the origin. You know what I mean? They're not the same. It's not the same continuity. That's stupid. Things are just going to be different. That doesn't mean they're going to suck. Just throwing that out there. Like, who knows? This reboot could make the whole entire DC universe great again. Who knows? I'm taking a wait and see type attitude. Am I saying I don't understand why people are upset? Of course I understand why people are upset. I grew up with a lot of these characters too. And I'm a little disheartened by it, but I wouldn't say I'm upset. Shit, the books may be better. And that's all I care about. I care about reading quality stuff. You know what I mean? That's just how I am. I don't know. If someone's writing something that I like, most likely I'm going to check it out. More than likely, or I will check it out. Either I'm already reading it or I will check it out. Apparently all this is supposed to happen after Flashpoint. And, like in August, I think so. But like Josh said in his video, which is what I want to touch on, the kid aspect. Like kids from the ages of 12 to 14 not reading comics anymore. And he's 100% right about that. That's very important, because growing up, I read comics and I had a lot of friends that read comics. Now me and it was me and like a circle of like 9 people who I've been like, I wouldn't say lifelong friends with, but we were friends a very long time. And out of that circle, me and one other person still read comic books. And that one other person only reads Marvel. So I'm just saying, just throwing that out there. Like, he doesn't read anything else. No Image, no Dynamite, no IDW, no DC. All he reads is Marvel. But here's the thing, though. DC needs to learn that new readers help business thrive. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I agree with Josh that they definitely should get young readers to read comics. Groom them at a young age so maybe they'll grow up to be lifelong comic book fans. But in addition to that, this is why I'm not 100% mad at this DC reboot. Because right now, names like Thor and Green Lantern and Batman and even Superman to a degree because of all the hype, and X-Men, and even fucking Iron Man. Tell me before 2008 how many people outside the comic book community had heard of fucking Iron Man. I'm just saying. They need to take advantage of everything that has gone on. Pretty much make these books accessible to people that may have never read comics before. Like, not even just necessarily kids, which kids are important. I'll get to that in a second. But like, a good example, Nightmare 88, who y'all might know on YouTube, or whatever, it's Nightmare 88. Phil, he was like, I want to get into comics now. What should I read? Well, we had to pretty much get him self-contained graphic novels and be like, read this one, read that one, read this one. When in all actuality, we should just be like, hey, go to the comic book store. And here's another thing. I remember back in the day where comics were sold everywhere, not just the comic book store. Like I remember when I can go in what's a good example? I remember I used to go down the corner to the corner store. It used to be called DJ's Corner Store. Now it's like Stop and Go or some shit like that. But I remember I used to go down to the corner store and get my comics from there. Like sometimes I didn't even go to the comic book store because a lot of the new comics would just be in there on Wednesday. It was cool, man. And yeah, but like I was saying, Philip, he was like, what should I read? He shouldn't have to search for old graphic novels to read. Hey, read this graphic novel and read this one that came 10 years after it because it's good too. No. Phil's favorite character is the Punisher. Okay, he should be able to go and get a Punisher comic and instantly just be able to read it. Know what's going on. Don't make it so foreign. Don't make it a foreign language to people that have never read comics before. It is nearly, if you have never read comics before and you try and get into it now, it is nearly impossible. Like, I firmly believe it is impossible, with the big two, especially with the big two. It is impossible to get into comics in this day and age. It just is. Like, just by how they have everything set up. And to get to Josh's point about younger children not reading comic books, this is a crying shame. I got a story to tell. I'm not really dating this girl. We messing around. I'm talking to her and all this stuff. But she asked me one day, Markeem, my real name, putting my government out there, whatever. She asked me, hey, could you watch my nephew for me because I got to do some things. And all this, that, and the third, Okay, I'm like, okay, sure. She was like, well, he's he likes Spider-Man, so y'all got something in common. And this is around the time where like Spectacular Spider-Man was on TV and stuff like that, and the movies were huge and all that stuff. I'm like, all right, word. I got some episodes of Spectacular Spider-Man on my bootleg DVD here that we can watch it. By the way, that's on my top 10. Because I love that show. I was like, we can watch that, And then he was like, cool. He's like, what's your name? How you know my aunt? All this stuff. And then he's talking to me. I put in Spectacular Spider-Man. He's like, he's singing the song. He loves the show. He's like, you like this show too? I was like, yeah, I read Spider-Man comic books when I was a kid. He has books? Yes. What I said, yes. This little kid who was like 7 years old had no idea that Spider-Man came from comic books. He just thought Spider-Man was created by the media. Like, as in, like Spider-Man just popped up on TV one day. He had no idea that the character Spider-Man originated from comic books. And to me, I know this has something to do with DC, but this is just to Josh's point. And to me, that is a crying shame. There is no excuse why. Like think about it this way. If you're a little kid and you're at school, you're reading little bullshit stuff. You're reading Dr. Seuss and stuff like that. You don't care about all this. You know what I mean? You want to see action. You know what I mean? You want to see this guy beat up the bad guy. That's what you want to see, right? You can no longer do that anymore because comic books are not exposed to these children now. Like, you have books, like, pretty much, and this is one thing I didn't agree with him on. How he said Marvel and DC with Superman, Spider-Man should be children driven. I agree that they should be, but Spider-Man, more times than not lately, has been for all ages, I would say. More times than not. I wouldn't say every week because it comes out every week, but I say more weeks than not. A kid can pick that up and enjoy it. You know what I mean? Superman, no. Like, I was one of those people that defended this grounded arc that they got going on right now. I was one of those people. But It's not for children. It's not. No kid is going to want to see a guy walking around using these big words to describe situations. You know, he's supposed to be like kids know Superman. They see Superman. They know Superman. They don't want to see Superman walk around and look for stuff and soul search. No, they want to see Superman pick up a rock and throw it in space. They want to see Superman go over and punch a robot in the face. That's what they want to see. Kids want to read books that matter also, like he was saying. They had, a few years ago, they had Billy Batson and the Power of Shazam. They still make that book, I think. And, you know, don't get me wrong, that's a fun book. I actually picked it up a few weeks. But, you know, it's for children. It's directed towards children. The problem is that has nothing to do with DC continuity. That's just a random book, you know what I mean? Like, kids don't want to read these Cartoon Network packs that sell balls at the damn, you know, at the damn comic book store. You know, kids don't want to read that. Kids want to read Superman and actually feel like Superman's important. Like, they recognize these characters, but the thing is though is that a lot of these kids have no idea about these characters' histories, and I feel like that's a crying shame in DC's part, because the essence of comic books was for, you know, for younger audiences to read comics and feel better about themselves and their situation in life and the situations in their life and things like that. You know, now the spirit of comic books is just like, you know, the fans that have been around since, you know, like, you know, since like, you know, back in the fans that are always going to be there pretty much, you know, and that's not cool. Like, there's a way to please everyone. You know what I mean? You can make a movie. You can make a book for, you know, people that have been around since like way back 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and you can make a book for people just jumping into something. I mean, Christopher Nolan was able to do it with the Batman movies. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a big time Batman fan, as y'all know this. He's my favorite character of all time. I will not shy away from that. You know what I mean? But those Nolan movies are, in a lot of ways, contradictory to the actual origin of Batman, to like his actual mythos and history. They're very contradictory. You know what I mean? But it's still well done. All people that may have never seen Batman before know it. I'm just saying that DC and Marvel need to expand their core audience, because we're always gonna be there. It's the people that aren't there that they need to try and bring in. That's just how I feel. You know what I mean? Like, comic books are so closed off. Like, pretty much these movies are making millions of dollars, like Truth Slayer said, which is cool. That's all well and good. But the thing is that the stories and the basis for these movies and these toys and these animated series. Speaking of animated series, Batman animated series is another one that was for all audiences. But why can't you do that in literary form? But anyway, like I was saying, you know, like the basis for all this stuff comes from comic books. Like, if you have no story from, if comic books are dead and you have no new stories to create, you know what I mean, then what you gonna do? Pull shit out of thin air for these movies? No, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. But and like he said, you know, I don't know what's gonna happen. You know, he said that, you know, he was like, this is cool if, you know, this is what he said, this is a way to expand the books to younger audiences. And then the Grant Morrison thing. Grant, if y'all don't know, Grant Morrison is writing Superman, and to me that makes no sense, because Grant Morrison has shown for at least the past 10 years that he cannot write a one and done story. And in my opinion, when I was younger, I used to love stories like that. And this is just coming from my experience. That I can just read one book, story starts, there's a middle, and there's an end, all in 26 pages, like 26, 30 pages. And middle, beginning, end. Grant Morrison is incapable of doing that. He's shown over the years that he is incapable of doing that. And I feel like that is the wrong thing to do if you're trying to get new fans to read Superman. Maybe and you know, comic books are $3-4 a pop sometimes, you know what I mean? You have to do better. You have to, you know? So anyway, I done went on too long. I just wanted to bring that up. You know, wanted to, you know, just, I'm saying, not just younger audiences, because he's right about that, but new audiences in general, people that just that never read comics, you know what I mean? Make the books more accessible for them. Because with all these movies and stuff coming on, I see people all the time, like my homeboy. Okay, another story. My friend Doc Knockers, he asked me, you know, what's your favorite book right now? You know, 'cause you read comics, you're a nerd. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I'm a nerd, whatever. But he's like, you read comics. You know, what's your favorite book right now? Everybody knows my favorite book is Invincible Iron Man, written by Matt Fraction, art by Salvador LaRocca. Amazing series, check it out. Cheap plug. But everyone knows that. But he was like, you know, I want to read it. Soon as he picks up the book, he's like, okay, why is Iron Man director of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Because they don't explain it. He's like, okay, why is this happening? Why is that happening? When the series first starts, he's the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., in case y'all don't know. But he's reading, he's like, you know, why is this happening? Why is that happening? Why is that? You know what I mean? He has no idea what's going on. You know what I mean? So, at least I think was he the director of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I mean, he must have just lost his job or something. And I had to explain everything that happened, you know what I mean, to him, for him to, you know what was going on. And it shouldn't have to be like that. I'm just saying. But anyway, I'll holler at y'all later. Peace. Hansker, I've not forgot about the Scott Pilgrim review. Don't worry about it. I will have it. I will have it soon. But I'll holler at y'all later. Peace out.